Welcome to the Real Estate Masters Podcast, where we interview the top names in the real estate game. If you want to grow your real estate business, see more podcasts, or get free resources, go to www.remcommunity.com. The only podcast that allows you to directly connect with the guests and many of the highest level names in the real estate game.
You are in for a treat with our next guest. Do me a favor, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, and don't forget to go to remcommunity.com to connect with some of the highest level real estate professionals in the United States through our community and through our high level masterminds. Let's go.
Welcome. Today we've got Mr. Leo Clark. Leo Clark is a real estate investor. He's been investing for about 10 years now. He's a speaker, educator, real estate investor, and specializes in new construction. He's got hundreds of deals under his belt. He's a veteran, even just with being in the business the last 10 years. He left the corporate world after 28 years, I believe, at his old corporate job. So welcome, Leo. How you doing, buddy?
Excellent. How about you, Tony?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Rocking and rolling. So what's going on with you, man? So you do new construction. So there's not a lot of people in our space that do ground up. So I guess tell us how you got started and why you chose that niche.
Well, it wasn't a matter of getting into it. It transitioned. I transitioned my business. So when I started my business in the heyday of buying REOs, 2009 to 2010, hundreds, if not thousands of properties throughout Southern California, dealing with asset managers. So buying a lot of properties, distressed properties, bank-owned properties, and rehabbing them and selling them. And as that timeline went through, all those homes, I started getting into, construction pieces of it, not just a simple rehab, put it back together, make it look pretty and sell. Adding square footage, dealing with certain aspects of construction. So I started gaining knowledge behind construction. And then in 2012, I basically put it out there that I wanted to build homes. And so I got my very first lot that was basically graded and certified, had water meter paid, electrical meter on site. All you had to do was buy it, do a few little things, build it, and sell. So that was my very first lot in 2012. Mm-hmm. Got hooked because we sold it 5 months and 3 weeks later, kid you not, bought it in October, sold it in April. And literally the profit margin, the spread, the percentage of what we made on that versus what we were making on rehabs in the same length of time, I was hooked. Mm-hmm. So then I just started transitioning from building one home into building multiple. So right now in my pipeline, there's 11 homes in my pipeline, 3 coming out of the ground right now of that 11, 4 right behind that. So yeah, I transitioned to becoming an infill developer in San Diego County.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about that. So a lot of people like rehabbing because it's a lot quicker, they feel like, right? So within, 60 days, typically they can rehab a project. So going from a 60-day rehab to a 5-month deal, I guess tell us what the big difference is between the two different methods, between new construction and rehabbing in a current building.
It's the process through the cities and the utility companies and, all the uncontrollable factors. In a rehab, there's a lot you can control. You control your acquisition, you control what you do to the home. But when you're going through a process with a city or any other entity out there that controls what they want from you, it's a whole different ballgame. Mm-hmm. So doing one home was, pretty, I wouldn't say simple and easy, but it was much quicker than doing what we now know as infill development. Because I'll take a parcel like this La Mesa one, bought the house that sat on 2 acres, cut up the land, rehabbed the house, sold the house, and now building 3 homes. So that started out as a rehab purchase, acquisition, but it came with land.
Right.
Same with my Lemon Grove project. So I look at a home in multiple exit strategies than most do. So from the standpoint of, do I take the home, do I rehab it and sell it, or do I take the home, cut it up, then build, then rehab? I mean, there's multiple exit strategies that I utilize. Because like my Lemon Grove property, We have a renter in that home that's been paying the rent. We're going on 2.5 years or so. So we get a renter in the home as we go through the process with the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I approach it from multiple exit strategies on what, as far as profit goes, what is the best way to go. And I don't know about anything out of California, but in California, you're in a city or county that's going to control that process timeline with what they want.
Yeah, and
So
that's one thing you obviously need to look at is not only timelines but costs, because both of those in California can be a lot. I mean, it could be. I've heard projects taking a year to 2 years sometimes to get approved because they're on the coastal commission and those kinds of things. So
right.
that's obviously something to look at. And I think one of the other great things about new construction is you've already got the floor plan. So as long as you've done that floor plan before and you do it again, you know what it looks like, what finished, you've got basically the blueprint just to throw on that piece of land, right?
Right.
So that's obviously a benefit as well.
Yeah, the one house that's involved with this 3-home development in La Mesa, I've built one of them 5 times.
Nice.
So it's a no-brainer. We already know the costs. It isn't like, holy cow, what I'm at 360 on the build, 6 months ago. Depending on lumber and concrete costs, fluctuations, I might be at 370, I might be at 350, because lumber and concrete are the ones that fluctuate the most.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're dealing with bids or when you're dealing with anything with multiple structures, your concrete and your lumber are your biggest aspects of fluctuation.
Right.
Price.
So, yeah, and we talked a little bit ago about kind of, I guess I've termed it as wholesaling land. So when you said you bought the one in 2012, they've already bought it, they permitted it. So in California, it's a different beast, right? In Kansas, if we bought a piece of land, we could probably build within a week or two. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? So California could be months or a year or more.
Absolutely.
So in places where it's really tough to permit properties, or it can be a lengthy, costly process, what would you say your reason for building on those pieces of land instead of taking those pieces of land, getting them permitted to where they can build and then selling them off like some people have to you?
Yeah, I set out to build a legacy. I want to be recognized in San Diego as a developer home builder, not a KB Home guy or DR Horton guy or anything like that, but I want to be recognized in San Diego as a home builder. I want to have something 100 years from now, someone living in it or buying it, and I created that.
Right.
That's my drive.
Right.
So I'm building for my company and myself, I'm building that legacy, if you will. So yeah, I could sell off and there was a parcel that I did buy, bought it at a tax lien, was undecided what to do with it. It was 44 acres in Northern California. We passed our marijuana laws and I sold it to a marijuana farmer. So made really good money on it, but had the intention of looking at cutting it up into, 2-acre parcels. And then we passed the law on, legalizing marijuana. And so I sold it to a marijuana farmer.
Right.
And he was excited to get it at the price that I sold it to him at, because at that time, when we were transitioning from being illegal to legal, land was way up there. And so I had it at a very rock bottom price.
Right. Cool. So where do you find most of your deals? Is it, you probably hear about other traditional methods of finding fix and flip type houses. Is it the same way? Is it different? Like, tell us a little bit about how you acquire these properties.
For lead generation, I've had so many different streams of lead generation. I've done anything from the mailers and the cards and the letters. I've done the texting. I've done the voicemail, RVM. So a lot of different ways I've gone about, but right now it's my contacts. Everybody knows what I do and what I'm looking for. And I'm not kidding, just was on the phone looking at 4 projects that were emailed to me today. So my lead generation is based off of the months or years that I've been networking throughout the state and other states. So for the most part, it's via contacts right now, my network.
Right. And when you close on deals, you put properties under contract, you close on them. people see you follow through, you provide a good product, they keep bringing deals to you, right? Because, real estate has a, kind of a connotation with, those that don't do things above board, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying there's necessarily a lot of them, but there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
So that, that's one big thing that I've tried to do over the last 20 years. If I say I'm going to do something, if I say I'm going to close on a property, I'm going to close on
Yep.
it. And
Absolutely.
I think that's the biggest thing with trust. And once you build that trust with realtors, with developers, they're going to bring you the deal over someone else that maybe, even if they have the money, if they haven't followed through like you have, they're going to bring the deal to you first, right?
Yeah. And that started right out of the gate with me because, in the corporate world for almost 30 years, your reputation is, how you go forward building what you build or how you grow your career. So when I first started with the REO space and all the asset managers, if I made an offer, I wasn't backing out.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 244 homes, I've only backed out of one. So from that standpoint, whoever's, watching your show here, you got to put it in place and know that you're going to close, move forward, and live up to what it is you say you're going to do. Otherwise, a lot of people just don't want to be around, people that can't live up to what they say they'll do. And yeah, I started out of the gate with that.
Yeah, real estate word spreads quickly. So if
Yeah.
you do something, in the real estate industry, especially in a smaller town, even a bigger town, even like San Diego, I mean, it can get around pretty quickly. So tell me about some of your biggest learning lessons. So, the thing with business is you can almost learn, and you probably learn more from other people's mistakes than you maybe do their successes. So what are some things that you did that you would, I guess, shed light on that would help other people to not make certain mistakes?
Well, no matter what the project is, there's no project that's going to go without mistakes or without something being overlooked. There's no perfect process per se. You can have perfect intentions and you can have a perfect plan on paper, but there's always going to be things that come up, always. Some of my learning curves or some of my learning aha moments, if you will, hiring the right guy to do the right job. I learned that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
You got to hire that guy or gal, either way, that is going to do what it is that they are specialized in or good at, one of the two. I hire now, and it's been going on for years. I hire general contractors, and I let the general contractors hire the subcontractors. So from the standpoint of somebody rehabbing a home, you don't really need to go hire a GC because you're going to pay the management fee behind that.
Mm-hmm.
So you become the project manager, you become the GC, if you will. So you got to get the right subcontractors doing the right work, and not a handyman, running electrical lines or plumbing or anything like that. You're after that plumber, that electrician, that cabinet guy, that tile guy, that flooring guy. So I learned that a long time ago. Hire the right guy for that right job. There's a book out there, oh shoot, I just went blank on it. Right seat on the bus. And so from that standpoint, the right person in the right seat is what you're after.
Right.
Another big factor is structuring the deal. Learned a long time ago how to structure it where it's advantageous for both the contractor, me, private lender, hard money lender, whatever. So structuring the deals are truly what helped me progress into multiple projects. And then another lesson, a third one, collaboration. For anybody that's listening that's new or kind of in the middle or trying to build your business, collaborate. Like if Tony and he knows me, I know him. He's in Wichita, I'm in San Diego. He has a project, he wants funding or he wants to collaborate. I would go and join forces, if you will, collaborate, move forward on a project. Collaborations are powerful. It enabled me to do a lot of projects at one time. So those three areas is kind of what I've learned over the years to help me grow my business.
Yeah, and I think the first thing you said about hiring the right people, that's super key. I mean, I've got a business that I only work a few hours a week in my real estate business, and it's because I have the right people, and I have the right people that attract other right people. So, from a standpoint of an employees, you hire those right employees, they're going to attract the right people into your business. You hire the right contractors, they're going to do the right things. Early in my career, I would say for the first 5 or 10 years, I just found the cheapest deal. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what I did. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, $12 an hour. Okay, let's go.
Oh.
Now one of my guys, I paid 20, I think $25 an hour to one of my maintenance guys. I just have a couple maintenance guys, and just like you, I sub all of the other stuff out. And if you would have told me 10 years ago, I'd pay someone $25 an hour on payroll and provide a van for him and, all these
Yeah.
things and provide a cell phone, I'd be like, you're crazy. But that guy does the work of 2 to 3 people.
Yeah.
He shows up. He's been with me for, I think, 8 years now.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. I don't have to worry about him. I haven't even I've talked to him probably a handful of times the last couple of years, just because my team manages him and I don't have to step in and
Yeah.
be a part of it. So it's amazing that not only just that person doing a good job, but the domino effect of them attracting other people.
And the one thing you'll see, because I get in the classes I do, are the bulk of my classes are hiring contractors and the contracts that go with hiring a contractor. Because every contractor I hire, I have my contracts that I put in place with that individual. So I'm protecting myself. There's 7 contracts that I put on. I don't care if it's building a home, rehabbing a home. I don't care what it is. Make sure you've got the contracts in place, because the contracts are kind of your salvation, and some of them can be very viable and, protecting your backside if something were to go wrong. So the contracts are very important, as well as when you get that right contractor, if it's an electrician, a plumber, a drywaller, or whoever it may be, pay them right, pay them on time, and make sure that they are the guy to continue forward with you. You're after the relationship. You're not after them giving you, the best price. You're after the relationship. So here, Mr. Contractor, Ms. Contractor, here's my project. Here's what I can afford to pay you. Do you want to do 1 or do you want to do 100? Which way do you want to go? So I learned that a long time ago. Pay them well, pay them on time, make sure they do the right job, make sure they live up to their word as you living up to yours, and establish that relationship and carry it forward. My electrician today is the same electrician I had in 2010. And those guys you just don't want to lose.
Yep. Yeah. But even if you have to pay them a little bit more, it's a lot better than having to search for new ones and having to stay on top of them and having to ask them why they're not doing something. And yeah, it's a game changer once you get a really good team.
My grader I've had for 8 years, my electrician now 10, my plumber 7, my framer 6 years now. So my key contractors been with me a long time.
Yeah, cool. So I'm going to ask you the $10,000 question. If someone gave you $10,000 and said, spend this wisely, you've got to spend it on something, what would you spend that $10,000 on to get the most return?
Me personally, or
personally, professionally, doesn't matter where it is. If you just had 10 grand and someone said, do something with it and do the best you can, what would you spend it on?
I would invest it in one of 2 things, depending on what it is that the individual I'm investing in is going to do for me, because that 10,000 can either create 100,000 for me, or it can create a bunch of knowledge for me, one of the 2. So am I investing in knowledge, or am I investing in an ROI of capital?
Yeah, give us both.
So an ROI of capital, 10 grand, in 8 years is going to double itself if I'm getting 12%. If I'm getting higher, of course, it's doubling itself quicker. Knowledge can never go away. Once a mind is expanded, it can never contract back to its original size. So if I'm wanting to invest that 10 grand in me, knowledge for me right now, yes, I would. that was where I needed to be in order to gain more knowledge. Like right now, as I transition from building single family to building multifamily, I'm going to go through another learning curve. I'm going to go through some educational. So right now, I'd probably take that 10 grand and start looking at who I wanted to go out there and, collaborate with, mentor me, if you will, as a multifamily builder. Because I don't want to go and make mistakes that they've already made that they can teach me not to make.
Yep.
So yeah, it's either capital or knowledge. Which do you need right now today?
So tell us about knowledge. What things do you invest in knowledge-wise?
Oh, I'm in 2 masterminds right now. I've been in 5 total. Masterminds are powerful. Depending on what you need for the knowledge. Once you've got that need fulfilled, then you're looking to escalate and you're looking to move to the next level. So that group or that mastermind did its job per se, and it served the purpose for you gaining the knowledge that you were after at that time. So yeah, I've now been in 5 masterminds. The 2 I'm in right now, one is for developers, land surveyors, big builders. There's a guy who's a project manager for KB Homes in it, and it's a small group. And then another one's marketing. So from the standpoint of those 2 groups, it's helping me build my knowledge in the areas that I need knowledge in.
Yep. And when you surround yourself with the people that are doing the same things, I think, like you said, you get to learn from them. You get inspired. Like, to me, I get inspired. Like when I run my mastermind events, right? And I go to masterminds and I invest in them as well. And anytime I'm in one of those meetings, it can be a 3 to 4 hour meeting. Sometimes I'm in it for 2 days. I just get inspired by what they're doing. I mean, when you get in the right room, you see what people are doing. It's like, oh man, I can't believe this person's doing that. Or, man, I didn't even think about that. And you just get all these ideas and inspiration. And so you're absolutely right. I think getting in front of people that are doing great things is the best money that you can spend, because they are going to amplify whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
First mastermind I joined, there was a guy doing 1,000 deals a year, so I was doing, I think at the time, 60 deals a year, 70 deals a year, whatever it was. And I thought I was kind of a big fish. And then it's like, holy crap, this guy's doing 1,000 deals.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden your mind just expands to what the possibility is. Right. And then from there, it just kind of amplifies. So
no doubt. So we all in this industry, in our profession, we all need knowledge, and every one of us need to be striving for something at a different level than what we're at. Because as they say, you're only as good as your last project. If you don't continue to fill your pipeline, you will sit idle, or you will be falling behind the curve, or you will be maybe even out of business if you don't understand the aspects or the whole dynamics of scaling and growing. We as entrepreneurs don't want to sit idle. This whole lockdown, shutdown, COVID thing hasn't slowed me down not 1 second. And for the most aspect behind that, it's due to construction. All these construction workers, they don't want to be sitting at home. They want to be making money. So construction during this whole lockdown process has taken off, and it is still going. It is continuing to grow. So I want to scale my business every year. I already know where I'm going to be next year. I already know where I'm going to be in 2022. So from anyone listening through this or on this, look at how you're going to scale your business. Where are you going to be at 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now? And that's what I always look at.
There's a saying that Tony Robbins says. He said, people, what does he say? Overestimate what they can do in a day, but they underestimate what they can do in a lifetime.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at it from 5 to 10 year chunks of time throughout your life, just look at how much has been accomplished. I mean, if I look back 5 years ago, I'm like, holy crap, if I knew that I'd be doing what I'm doing now 5 years ago, especially 20 years ago. So that's a really good point. It's like envision what you want, not only now, but 5 years down the road, and you can even reverse engineer that. And again, look back 5 years ago where you were. And if if you've been, a person that's been into growth and development and
Yeah.
have done some things, you're going to look back 5 years and go, wow, I've come a long way. So,
And the biggest thing behind this, and this is why I do what I do. I want to, I made a promise to myself when I left that career position. I wasn't going to be controlled by somebody dictating my hours or my pay or my responsibilities. So I left that all behind me and started my own business. And it took me from the day I started, which right at the end of '09 coming into 2010, I started making offers right around January, February of 2010. Took me 337 offers to get my first acceptance.
and you track that 337 offers.
337. I made 75 offers in one weekend.
Wow.
But keep in mind, it was a different, dynamics in. We had thousands of REOs. Every
Right.
Monday I would get a list of 1,100 properties on it. You want to buy 1,100 properties, there they are.
Right. True.
So we're making offer after offer after offer, and took me 337 offers to get my first one accepted. And a lot of people ask, why did you just keep going? Because I'm going to build my business. I got out of the corporate world to start my own corporate entity.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people don't think of that, because if you look at some of the people that are big names out there, Warren Buffett. What's the difference between Warren Buffett or you, Tony, or me? Aside from the money, aside from the years of experience, he started somewhere. And when he started with his position and he started with his company, same with all the other big ones, they had no idea where they would end up 30 years down the road, but they knew where they would be next year, the year after, and the year after. They knew that they were going to grow their business. And that's something that so many entrepreneurs fail to look at. They don't treat it like a corporation. They don't treat it like they're the CEO of a company. And there's where a lot of them fail.
Yeah. Speaking of company, I mean, companies are built on, we talked about people, but I think the other big thing is systems.
Yeah.
What kind of systems do you feel like, or software or any kind of automation do you have in your business that you feel like would be really hard to do without?
Well, I started with Podio with several aspects of my business, and then went to Investor Carrot. And that helped me with several aspects of what I do. Lead generation, for anybody out there, lead generation is the key factor to our business. So tracking your leads, you got to have something, some CRM to track what you've got going out, what you've got coming in, who said what and when and where, and just all of that. So I had Podio and then Investor Carrot, and still use that on and off, either one. But you still have to have the bookkeeping side. So I hired a CPA. I'm not going to do my own books. So I haven't had my CPA since day one. So I feed everything off paperwork wise, and they build my P&Ls on each project. So I don't do that. So from systematizing something, I send off again the right person for the right job. CPA is who you got to have. Possibly a tax attorney is who you got to have. Those aspects, someone takes care of it, I don't have to worry about. They send me exactly where we stand and what's going on, and that way I don't have to deal with it. Marketing side, systematizing marketing, systematizing how you do whatever you're going to do, whether it's mailing mailers, cards, recorded voicemails, texts. Somebody has to do that and track it. So there's the tracking systematized side, and then there's the actual doing systematized side, because I'm not going to go label 1,000 postcards in my house, and I'm going to hire a mail house to do that. So you get the right mail house, you get the right marketing piece, and you get the right program to track what you do. And like they say, your KPIs, you monitor those, and you monitor what it is that you're spending money on and whether or not it's producing a return for you. And then you begin to build more systems around that base. So yeah, that's kind of where I started to evolve my company and my business with those three areas, because I didn't want to do them. So I had to have systems or something in place to have it done.
Yeah, outsourcing is a big thing, especially, I mean, people say I don't have employees or I don't have this or I don't have that. I mean, these days there's so many easy ways to outsource. If you can't
Yeah.
find it, go to an upwork.com. If you need bookkeeping, you can pay 100, $200 a month sometimes just for minor stuff that, that allow you to free up your time to do the things that you need to do, like making phone calls and working on the marketing and all of that. In fact, when you and I met, I can't remember how long ago it was. It's been what, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah, about I think 5 now.
Yeah, I think it was close to 5. Yeah. And so when I met you, I think I had like 15 employees, and I think you had a small team, and you were doing, a good amount of projects. And I'm like, how do you have such a small team? And you mentioned how you outsource and you've got people to do this and that. And our businesses are different, obviously, but, I really kind of took that, and I realized that now it's not about the size of your team. In fact, if you can do more deals with a smaller team, it's way more efficient. I've scaled down quite a bit from those employees and outsourced a lot more things. But you don't have to have a large team
Nope.
to do good deals. You just have to have good people that are managing what you're doing.
Efficient.
Super efficient. The more efficient you can be. I mean, people look at numbers and say, well, I do this many deals and I've got this many employees, and that doesn't mean anything,
Yeah.
unless your bottom line shows it and, your workload shows it, right? Because if you're working 80 hours a week and you've got 100 employees doing, or doing 100 deals with, 15 employees, then, but if I know guys that are doing, 20, 30 deals, making as much as those guys doing 100 plus deals, and they've got 1 or 2 operators in their business. And it's just in times that are tough, which I think we're coming into some tougher times. When you've got a bigger staff, man, it'll take a toll on you. I know some big guys right now doing big volume that are hurting right now.
Oh yeah, and that was something. I managed 330 something odd employees at one time. And there were times that I would have to lay someone off due to sales volume, sales raise all ships, as they say. So when that wasn't there and having to lay someone off, I saw that impact them and, what happened to them in their life. And I really made it an effort when I left the corporate world that I wasn't going to have that happen ever again. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be responsible for laying someone off at Christmas time due to a lack of something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I 1099 just about everybody.
Yeah.
They're responsible. And, you can be a bonus structured business. You do this, you get this. So from the standpoint of hiring somebody today, if I had to build a team of 5 or 10 people, they would all be bonus-driven people. You go out and do what is required for you to go do, and here's what you will be paid, 1099.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's stuff I like to keep in-house. I've got, quite a few rentals, so I like keeping that in-house because
you have to.
Because I've had other management companies, manage properties, and I've never found a really good property manager over 20 years. So there are things that you do want to keep in-house. There are things that, you may want to have at least one assistant so you have that person on call to give stuff to. But at the same time, like I said, I mean, there's people on Upwork that will work hourly as needed sometimes and take on a few hours here and there where you don't have to commit to 30 to 40 hours a week for an employee.
I have 3 VA contacts that I've used for 9 years now. Mm-hmm. So like right now, designing this one project and doing renderings. So I pass that off to one of my VAs, and they're getting my renderings done for me at a really good price. Mm-hmm. There are, and I think if everybody pays attention to what's going on in today's world, it doesn't require, running a business doesn't require a lot of bodies. It requires the right bodies, but not a lot of them. And so you can run, if you're extremely efficient, you can run a good business, profitable business with low headcount.
Yep. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It goes back to quality people, right?
Yep.
Well, cool. So we're going to wrap it up here. Anything else that you want to share?
Just for all your listeners and followers, if there's something they need help in, I'm wide open. I'm transparent. I'm reachable. Find me on Facebook. Find me on LinkedIn. For the most part, a lot of people try to do everything themselves, and that's the whole thing you got to get rid of or get out of. Fire yourself as quickly as possible. Get out of your own way, as they say. So yeah, if anyone needs help, anyone needs some kind of guidance, direction, connection, reach out. I'm easy to find.
Awesome. Yeah, Leo in San Diego runs a group and does a lot of great education and gives back, and that's something I've really respected about Leo over the years. So appreciate your time, Leo, and your experience and everything you do, man. I look forward to continuing the relationship, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help you as well.
You're welcome. Thanks, Tony.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Talk to you soon.
All right. You too.
Thanks for listening. Now go to www.remcommunity.com to connect with today's guest, see our high-level masterminds, and to get free resources. Don't forget to share this with a friend and leave us a 5-star review. We'll see you on the next episode.